I got to push. I don't see any other buttons that I got to push. And bizarrely, we're backlit as hell, even though it's raining outside. That's kind of odd. Okay, how's everybody doing? Sorry, we just got caught in the middle of a downpour. So, welcome. Anybody who happens to be in here, or perhaps no one is in this chat room, that's fine too. But if anybody is in this chat room and you are here intentionally, and you are here because you're in world regional geography or geography of wine for the spring semester 2023 at the greatest university on planet Earth, Virginia Tech, please do give me a shout out in the chat room right now. Type it out that you can actually both see me and hear me. And the hearing part is the most important because I thought I was going to do this wonderful office hours from a tropical locale here in St. Martin, the French side of St. Martin, a Caribbean island. However, it just started downpouring about a half hour ago, and I'm in almost typhoon type conditions, but we said the hell with it. We're going forward. We'll see if this will work. So I already got some chatters. Awesome. First time chatter from Ethan Owens 23. Welcome, sir. First time chatter from Sergeant Sax 107, who says they can hear and see me. Thank you, Sergeant Sax. Great screen name. First time chatter from Raybro2, who says I'm good. First time chatter, Cineac04, who also can hear and see me. First time chatter from Melina Panda. Melina Panda. Awesome. Another shout out to J Cruz 3, copy 10-4. Ooh, J Cruz, that's some old school 70s lingo right there from truckers. Copy that 10-4, good buddy. And a first time chatter from Zach Kai. Zach Kai, am I pronouncing that right? I know how to say Zach, but Kai is almost a Latin pronunciation, a Latin spelling. Who says all good with the voice and sound. Well, I certainly hope so, and this could get a little dicey and or a little hairy because, as I've now suggested, it was gorgeous about an hour ago. All you could see behind me was blue ocean, which you probably can't see at all anymore, and sailboats and people kite surfing and shit. But as is wont to happen in the tropics, the weather can turn on you on a dime. This is the kind of wet/dry climate type, which we might talk about in this class if you guys want to. And then, by the way, this is for world regions and geography of wine. I can talk about world climate. I used to do this back in the day. I used to do a whole 2 to 3 hour lecture on world biomes and world climate zones. Strangely enough, it's applicable to both the world regions and geography of wine courses. But I got away from it. I can't remember why. I got more into politics and economics and crap like that. So I've gotten away from the physical geography. But bringing it back around full circle, classic wet, dry tropics here, meaning that this is an area we call the tropics. The tropics temperature rarely changes throughout the year. So between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Tropic of Cancer, 23 and a half degrees, 23rd and a third degrees north and 23rd and a third degrees southerly latitude. These areas are places of the planet we call the tropics, and they don't really change in temperature. So they don't have these things that we in Blacksburg call seasons, and that we in wine growing regions around planet Earth call seasons. They don't have that in the tropics. Pretty much every damn day is about 78 degrees and maybe 70 at night. Pretty much every day. December 25th, March 3rd, June 2nd, August 25th. It's about 78 damn degrees. We differentiate tropical climates mostly by when rain comes, when precipitation comes. And it only is rain because it doesn't snow in the tropics either. So this is the northern part of the island of St. Martin or St. Martin, because it's a split island. I'm on the northerly French possession called St. Martin, If I were to travel 5 miles that way, I would be in the Dutch side of the island, St. Martin. And these are areas that classic wet dry. It's always nice year round for temperature, but this weather can happen pretty much anytime from hurricane season till spring and summer. This is when rain can just start falling, and it will fall on the turn of a dime, as the old saying goes for people my age and older. That it seems the sun is out and it's beautiful, and you're on the beach, and 5 minutes later it's a torrential downpour. That is the climate. It's the biome, and so we just learn to love it and enjoy it. So we had a great day at the beach earlier. Nothing but sun. Everything was gorgeous, and now it's pouring down rain. That's fine, though. I'm here actually for you, the students of these two classes, which have just started up. And they just started up, but not technically, not really, because today is Martin Luther King Day, and classes don't officially start till tomorrow. However, I always start my classes up early, and so most of the a lot of assignments for both courses are already active and live and ready to go. And you could have started this class a week ago when I sent out the first email. But I wanted to do an official welcome today, only because I can't do you an official welcome tomorrow because we're flying back to the eastern seaboard of the United States of America to a territory known as Virginia and a town called Blacksburg to rejoin you all in the cold. So I won't be able to say hi to you tomorrow. That's why I want to say hello, bienvenue, welcome to class, bonjour. I don't know the Dutch greeting. But how are you finding the course so far? Do you have questions? By the way, can you still hear me? Because the winds have picked up significantly. So I am here actually to answer your questions about what is going on in this course, how the course is conducted, any concerns you might have. And barring that, I can talk about any damn thing you like. So what's going on? How many of you are already started up the course and already know what's going on? And again, by the way, this is for both courses. This is the joint office hour for World Regions and my wine class, Geography of Wine. I should be down here in St. Martin for all you wine peeps. I should be down here in St. Martin drinking, rum punches and rum and cokes and all sorts of margaritas, because that is the drink of this area, rum and tequila imported in from Mexico. However, as fate would have it, being a wine person, this is a great island to come to because it's a French territory. And so there are tons of wine stores and wine bars here, and they are selling fantastic French wines that I can't even get back home at these prices. And for those of you that know me or know of me, I also own, with Katie Pritchard, my partner, own Blacksburg Wine Lab. And so I actually understand how pricing structure of wine works worldwide. And I'm drinking wines here in the French side of St. Martin that I am buying at a retail price cheaper than I can get them in Virginia at a wholesale price. So I have to drink Veuve Clicquot when it's half price. I mean, right? French champagne all day, every day. But I'm sorry, I got a comment in from Sergeant Sachs who says, for Geography of Wine, how are the readings broken up between the three books? Sergeant Sachs, it's actually already completely and utterly outlined for you in the syllabus. If you go to the syllabus and you can click on links on the very first page that will say Appendix 1, quizzes for Drink This Now, Appendix 2, quizzes for this, Appendix 3, quizzes for that. If you go in there, you'll see that everything is already outlined for you for all three books for the entire semester. All these quizzes, all the book reading quizzes are already open. Most of the video lecture quizzes actually are already open. For the first ones, what do we call the first section of quizzes, Katie, in the wine class? It's the ones I did, the short course for, it's on Udemy. They're already open. Wine IQ. So I did a series of very short lectures called Wine IQ. All of the Wine IQ quizzes are already completely open. You can start taking those now. You can hustle through those, by the way, and have a big chunk of things taken care of in the next 2 weeks. In World Regions class, to span both courses, depending on what course you are in the World Regions class, all of the Plaid Avengers World quizzes are already open. So you can actually go in starting today, actually starting last week. You could have started taking the book reading quizzes, and those will be open. They disappear. One disappears per week. None disappear this very first week because people are still getting online and figuring out how to do stuff. But like say book chapters 1 and 2 for Plaid Avengers World, the quiz for that will be due 2 Fridays from now. And if you don't take it by 2 Fridays from now, it disappears and goes away. Having said that, you can work ahead. You can do all the book reading quizzes for World Regional Geography. You can do them this week if you want to. If you're a fast reader and just want to get ahead and get all that work done, go do it. It'll actually help you understand the other lectures and the movies and stuff that you're going to watch all semester. For the Geography of Wine class, I believe, and Katie can correct me, I believe all the book reading quizzes are open. It makes sense to do them in the order that I give them to you in the syllabus, but by all means, work ahead. Do what you want to do. Most classes at Virginia Tech and all universities, they're pretty slack the first month, let's be honest. Mine is all in on day 1, so while your other courses are slack, nothing's due, work ahead in my class. Work ahead, finish the whole damn class 2 months from now. That's what I actually want you to do. And that way you're set. You already have an A in these courses before you have to do, your senior projects in your other courses or the classes that you have to pass in order to graduate. Those are the ones going to be giving you midterms and final exams and all that crap. So work ahead in these courses. It is the most often given advice from former students to new students, which is if you're taking a Boyer class, start work on day 1 or -10. Start work on -10-1, and you can finish a lot of the stuff long before it's due and long before the end of the semester, so you're chill for your final spring 2023 float to graduation. Or if you're not graduating, you'll still be ahead by the time we get to the end of the semester. So back to Sergeant Sachs's actual question. If you go in and look in the appendix of the syllabus, it outlines all of the book reading quizzes and their due dates right now. You can see them all right now, and all those quizzes are open right now. You can go for it. Get your books and run. But the way that I have them structured is intentional, Sergeant Sachs. So there's, say, 3 different books. And I will... this isn't the case 1-to-1 every week. So sometimes I'll say, read these 3 chapters in this one book and take a quiz. But as we progress in the semester, you'll see that things are intentionally staged. So like week 9 of the semester, it'll say, go read this chapter of the first book about Chardonnay. Then read this other chapter in the Zereli book about French Burgundies and French white wines, and then look this third book that also is talking about white wines of France and Italy. So it's intentional. It's intentional that things are laid out for your learning success. Don't confuse your learning success with your grade success, by the way. Grades are easy. You just go click buttons and shit and take exams and write term papers or buy term papers offline. It's easy to get a grade in an American university. It's easier to get easy grades in foreign universities, by the way. So the question you need to ask yourself on day 1 of this course, and really of your entire college experience, is are you here to get good grades because you think it's going to get you something? Or are you here to learn? Because learning will get you something. My classes are structured for people who want to learn. You know what? If you don't give a crap about wine, you want an easy A, go do all the work in the next 2 weeks and get your A. And intentionally learn nothing. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for learners. And if you take these courses seriously, both World Regions and Geography of Wine, what you're going to find is you do the readings, you do the tastings, you do stuff, you interact, you watch films. You're going to learn stuff that's going to help you for the rest of your life in ways that you cannot possibly predict right this second. You can't possibly predict how this knowledge is going to come back to help you. Getting all A's in college, I guess, will help you, but I'm here to tell you it really ain't. It really ain't. Getting a good job is not based on getting A's anymore. It's on doing things and being able to demonstrate knowledge and being able to be in an interview where you can think on your feet and you're intelligent. That's what's going to get you a good job in the 21st century. But if you think it's all based on getting straight A's, then by all means, cheat in all your classes and get all A's. But you're not going to go that far in life. I know I've gotten behind on comments, but not that many. I got a first-time chatter from Max Quacks. That's a great screen name. Thank you, Max Quacks, who's just actually given me, I don't even know what that is, a smiley face, a raised brow smiley face. I got a first-time chatter from Lime75. Thank you, Lime75. And I don't know if this is intentional, Lime75, but it appears that your font of your screen name is also in Lime. So Lime75 says, Geography of Wine question. I ordered 2 of the 3 books already today. All I have left to order is your book. I would like to get my hands on a new hard copy, but the ones available are now either really expensive or will take far too long to ship. Do you know if the Blacksburg Wine Lab will restock them in time? Unfortunately, I've ran out of my personal cache of Drink This Now books. And so, yeah, they are wildly overpriced online. Me and Katie will try to, let me see if I can get the publisher to send me a bunch of free ones, Katie. Remind me about that. In fact, Katie, hit up Curtis right now and be like, dude, send us some books. Yes, but they print them out in batches. You can request a print copy from Kindle Hunt. I don't know that I even included that link. I don't know how much they charge. All of them seemed overpriced to me. So here, I wrote the book, and it seems overpriced to me now. It's yes, they were asking for a hard copy. Katie, can you put the link to the hard copy version at Kindle Hunt? I'm not sure I put it. 46? Yeah, we will try. Lime75, if you could send me a personal email and say, hey, I want a cheaper version of the hard copy, it will remind me to try to scam some from someplace or just print them out myself. Because that's illegal, but I wrote the damn book, so I don't care if it's illegal. Who are they going to sue? The author? Good luck with that. But yeah, it is overpriced, which I hate. I just need to figure out how to do it myself, which is also illegal. That's why I'm torn. I'm like, your professor who wrote this book, am not allowed and should not be allowed to sell you my book directly, because that's what we call a conflict of interest. And I agree, it is a conflict of interest. But I also think everybody who's printing them are scammers.
Someone just rated you. Sweet Rosie B. It's the first time I've ever had that.
Is rating with a party of 3. Oh, rated me. Oh, hello, Sweet Rosie B. We just got rated by a party of 3, and that rhymes. Sweet Rosie B with a party of 3. Welcome, Sweet Rosie B. Welcome to the French side of St. Martin here in the Caribbean. I'm assuming, Sweet Rosie B, that either you or someone in your party knows who I am. I'm just a meager college professor at Virginia Tech who's conducting online office hours, which you are more than welcome to. So welcome. Former student, Sweet Rosie B. I assume so. Thank you, Sweet Rosie B, who says, former student, bring in some friends to learn. Thank you, Sweet Rosie B, but you probably did this the very first time you took one of my classes, and so the first online office hour is usually me just ranting about questions from the syllabus. But I can talk about whatever you want. But let me get back. Thank you, Sweet Rosie B. You're too awesome. Let me get back to the chats. Melina Panda says, how did you come up with goobers? You've never heard the term goobers? Melina, that is a classic term from, I want to say, at least the 70s. Oh, we just got a big gust of wind. By the way, can you guys still hear me in this wind? This is like shocking that you can even hear me. Goobers is a term that, I don't know, maybe it's generational, but it just means goofballs. Or, I don't know, goobers just means goobers. You bunch of damn goobers. I mean, there's no strict definition for it, but I assure you, if you ask your parents, call your parents a goober and see what they do. They'll be like, well, you haven't called me a goober before. I didn't do anything. Sergeant Sachs says, understood. Thank you. Thank you, Sergeant Sachs. Max Quack says, was supposed to be a smiley. I got the smiley. Lime75 says, yes, the color lime is intentional. Well played, Lime75. And let's see, Sergeant Stack is back at the bottom of this chat saying the wind is barely an issue with the audio for me. Awesome. Okay. Well, I mean, that actually brings us to, we're at 20 minutes into the office hour, and this initial office hour, to restate, is mostly to talk about questions you all have about the course. So I don't really have a whole shtick besides being in the wet, dry tropics of the Caribbean in an awesome storm that's blown up in the last hour. Does anybody have any specific questions about how either course works? And, oh, wow, the whole...
No, it's just a thought.
Oh, gotcha. I was going to say, I saw something pop up and then it went away. And so for those of you that are in the Geography of Wine course, I actually always kind of make an assumption that you already took world regions. So if that assumption is correct, you already know how the course works in terms of assignments that are laid out well in advance, both book reading, multiple types, book reading, video lecture series of me talking specifically about topics, and sometimes outside videos, films that have quizzes attached, sometimes live office hours. I'll make a pop quiz out of those. And what else am I missing? That's most of it, and most of it's already outlined, and much of it is already up and active. You also, if you've already taken world regions, know how the point system works. So all these things are laid out for you to make points off of. You are not assured points by simply clicking on buttons. You actually have to score what we call the threshold score, which is over 50%. And for any quiz, whether it's a lecture quiz or a film quiz, if you can't answer half the questions correctly, you likely have not done the reading or watched the lecture or watched the film. So that's why they're in there. I know some people are not great test takers, but by this point in your college career, you should have learned enough to do better than 50%. To me, it's a pretty liberal, it's a pretty generous cutoff. You got to get half right, otherwise I know you didn't do anything and you're just clicking buttons. Clicking buttons, by the way, this is a statistical thing. If you have a question set of 10 or a question set of 20, knowing nothing and clicking buttons, randomly, it's very rare you will get more than 50% right. That's why we do a cutoff of about 50%. You know, sometimes it's 60%, by the way. If it's something that's very important that I want you to actually understand, I'll be like, no, it's a higher standard. You have to get at least 60% of the questions right in order for you to gain the points that you got. You do not gain 100% of the points simply by trying. You do not gain 100 points for any assignment simply by getting to the threshold. You only gain 100 points for that assignment if you score a 100% on the assignment. I don't know, it's kind of like real life. So the thresholds are there to encourage you to take it seriously, to encourage you to not just try to click buttons on Friday afternoon or Sunday evening right before an assignment is due. It encourages you to take notes, because somebody actually sent me an email about this earlier today. They said, which assignments are open notes for the quizzes? And the answer is all of them. So I'm encouraging you to take all assignments seriously, read all the book chapters I tell you to read, watch the films I tell you to watch, check out the lectures I give. And you can take notes on all of these things as you're doing them throughout the week. And you can use those notes when you go take the quiz. It should be a breeze, but it's more about work ethics. Should be a breeze. But it's really more about organization and work ethic in this class. You will learn more by having a serious work ethic and organization. you will learn less by scamming. That's true in life, but in this course in particular, you might actually get a decent grade, but you're not going to learn squat. So again, it all depends on what are you bringing to the table? What do you want out of this course? I like to think that after 25 years of experimenting with this stuff, this is the formula that we've had the most success with for you to learn, not for you to get an A. For you to learn, this is what works the best. And we've got 100,000 students who've taken these classes that usually attest to that fact. So again, it's your future, it's your knowledge, it's your life. I'm here to enrich it, but you got to help me. Back to the chats. First-time chatter from Roger Roman. Good screen name, Roger. Do we have to complete all the film quizzes? Do you recommend doing it all? One question at a time. No, you do not have to do all the film quizzes. In fact, you don't have to do any. Your second question is, do you recommend doing it all? Yes, I do. I recommend you do everything. Because if you do everything, no matter if you screw up here and there, you're going to do good before the end of the semester. Meaning, if you attempt on day one, if you say, I'm going to do all the assignments in this class, I'm going to do my best to do every one of the assignments in this class, I assure you, you're already going to be successful. Because there will be weeks that you screw up. There will be a week you get sick. There will be a week that something catastrophic happens in your life, and you won't have time to do it. If you've done due diligence from day one, you have a safety net already. Just do everything. Just do everything. And that way it's padded in that when you actually can't get to something, you're kind of okay. You can afford to miss that. The other thing is if you do everything from day one, you might finish the class a month early. Is that a bad thing? The way that people fail any of my courses is they say, well, I don't have to do those film quizzes. I don't have to do the things in week 1. I don't have to do the things in week 3. Boyer said I don't have to do the things in week 5. And then all of a sudden it's week 10 or 11 or 12 this semester. And you're like, oh shit, I have to do everything because I kept skipping stuff. So yes, Roger, do everything. Again, you're asking the professor who built this course, who desperately wants you to be the smartest human you can be when you get out of college. So you're asking that guy, should I learn more? And the answer is yes, you should learn more. You should take every single assignment until you run out of assignments or you have an A and you're satisfied with the A that you've got. That's from me to you, Roger. Do everything until you're done, or you're done and you just want to keep learning. But either way, do everything, and you'll be on good track to start skipping things when you get too busy in other courses. I would do everything in the first month of class. Doesn't even matter what class you're in of mine. I would do everything. Let's call it the first 6 weeks. Do everything, and then you're set. It's like you got a full tank of gas on week 6 or 7, and now you're like, okay, I can coast a little bit, and I'm still going to make it to the finish line of this race. If you put stuff off and you delay and you hedge, that's really the only way you fail a Boyer course. Nobody's ever failed one of my courses because they're dumb. People have only failed my courses because they didn't schedule their time appropriately and they put stuff off. I mean, you could even be not that smart, but if you're a hard worker, you can get an A in this course. Of course, no one thinks you're not that smart. We all think you're really smart, but some people are like, I suck at taking tests. Good, that's fine. You can still be a success in life. And in my class, you can be a success if you work hard and stay on top of things. Just keep taking those quizzes. Keep taking. The ones that allow you to take it more than once, take it 10 times. Go. Keep going. Jay Cross, 3 in Hizzle saying, if I did take world regions, will I still be okay in the Geography 1 class? Yep. Jay Cross, I was not suggesting that you should have taken world regions before wine. I was only suggesting that it's apparent. I don't really think I'm that unique. I don't think it's that revolutionary, but the points-based system that I do for all of my courses, once you've done it, you understand how cool it is and you get it. But the first time people have not been introduced to it, they're like, I'm a little confused. What do I have to do? Or when do I have to do it? So you're fine, Jay Cruz. You're a senior, most likely you're a senior, most likely you're 21, most likely you're getting ready to graduate, most likely you're a very intelligent human being here at Virginia Tech. Read through the whole syllabus right this second or tonight. Make sure you understand the structure of here are all these things you can do. Stay on top of it and do those things. Don't get behind. That's the point. Don't get behind. Don't get behind. Don't wait. Don't wait to start blogging until a month from now. Start blogging in wine class right now. Start today. The first assignment doesn't require you drinking wine. The first assignment requires you talking about how little you know about wine. You can do that right now. Just start now and stay on it till you get the course done. First time chatter from Tyler M 2040. Tyler M 2040 lives in the future. He's from 2040. Will there be any tastings at Wine Lab? Now that is a question that it's difficult for me to answer because it is, once more, a conflict of interest. So, as your college professor at Virginia Tech, I cannot tell you nor even advise you to go to another business that I own and spend money there. Hopefully you understand why that's a conflict of interest. Having said that, many of you already know that I own Blacksburg Wine Lab. Many of you probably have already been to Blacksburg Wine Lab, and I thank you for that. One of the reasons I started Blacksburg Wine Lab was to have a venue to do educational lectures where we can actually taste the wine. I can't do that at Virginia Tech. So I live between worlds. At Virginia Tech, I'm an educator, and I can't tell you to go to a business. As a business person, I can do tastings and lecture, but I can't apply it to your Virginia Tech stuff. And I can't even tell you at your Virginia Tech stuff. So I live between worlds. I'm a wraith of sorts, a nebulous entity in the academic eye. So the answer is yes, there are many educational opportunities at Blacksburg Wine Lab that you can, you do not have to, can use for your blogging assignments. You do not have to, because I really encourage folks to work with other students in the course to build tastings and wine and cheese pairings that you can work with other students. And actually that, honestly, as a business owner, this is a terrible thing to say, but that's the proper way to do it, with family and friends. Again, having said that, you will find out that there's stuff at Blacksburg Wine Lab, and I will be conducting several, if not bi-week, every other week. I'm probably, because I've had so much demand from Blacksburg residents, not just students, to do more educational stuff. I'm like, yes, I'm going to do more educational stuff, that we do a lecture and do a tasting. But again, conflict of interest, you do not have to do any of those things. I am not even promoting those things. You will have to go to Blacksburg Wine Lab on your own accord and find out about those things. But you can use those, because I do suggest you work with other people to do wine and cheese and wine and food and wine tasting, wine this and wine that, and pairings and dinners and everything else. And I actually suggest other restaurants and stuff. So I feel like I'm doing my due diligence with conflict of interest, saying you don't have to do any of this. But you can scratch Blacksburg Wine Lab out of your memory for this course. This course is at Virginia Tech, and I'm going to grade you appropriately at Virginia Tech. Having said that, there are lots of assignments you can do in lots of different restaurants, and I will even promote those restaurants and wine stores and other things. I'm just mostly excited about people learning about wine. I just happen to also be so excited I own a wine bar. The two, they're not mutually exclusive except legally, but in all other ways, it's like, no, those things can coexist. And again, if you want to know more about that, you have to be on your own. You have to go figure out what's going on at Blacksburg Wine Lab. But to be honest, Tyler, it's not that hard. You'll be able to figure it out. First time chatter from One Flux TV. That's a good screen name too. One Flux TV says, just confirming, is it okay to group up for our wine tastings as long as we do our blog post individually? Just making sure that the same group of people using the same wines as each other for their assignment week by week would not be an honor code violation. You are absolutely correct and on point, One Flux TV. Absolutely. Your question just defined it better than I could write it. It is not an honor code violation. In fact, I'm encouraging it. And you hit the nail on the head. You can be with 4 or 5 or 10 people and have a happy hour, a communal happy hour with your crew, You can do wine and cheese tastings with your crew. You can do potluck. Everybody brings a different wine. Everybody brings a wine. Some people bring cheese. And that, therefore, you limit your expenditures, how much money you're spending, and you get to try a lot more stuff. That's what it's all about, trying more stuff. Trying more stuff and talking about the stuff you're trying. That truly is how you learn the most about wine. By the way, it's how you learn most about anything in life. But we're just talking about the wine class now. Having said that, let me put a parenthesis behind where I'm raging about with OneFlux TV and go back to including world regional geography people. I also encourage this behavior with movies. So I show an international film every week in world regional geography. I actually heartily encourage you all to watch the movies as a group. That's how movies were made to be watched. Watch it as a group, talk about it, think about it, think about highlights. Watch the videos that I show before and after each international film and talk about those. And maybe even say, hey, what was the general plot? And I didn't understand what was this character doing. That's the beauty of film. It's the beauty of wine. It brings people together. And so for the World Regions class, and only the smart people who are in this chat room right now will hear this, but I shouldn't say that. I always give extra credit, like 5 points, nothing huge, but I always give extra credit to World Region students who watch the movie as a group and photo document it. So if you watch a film as a group and then take pictures of yourselves eating pizza or just as a group partying watching the film and give me your names, everybody gets 5 extra points on top of whatever you do for the quiz. I probably shouldn't even say this out loud though, but I almost encourage people to take the quiz as a group, only the film quiz, because they can be challenging. And so I will reserve saying this only to the people in this chat room right now. I'm actually not against people in World Regions watching the film together and taking the quiz together, because it then you'll get to things you're like, oh my God, I'm taking what I forgot what was this character's name, and I kind of think that's fun. It doesn't bother me that much. I guess I should be more bothered, but I'm not going to be. So for World Regions, specifically for the films group activity. Everything else, book readings and lectures, you should probably do that on your own if you want to be smarter. But the films are complicated. There's a lot going on. Most of them are subtitled. You can't catch everything in a film, and the film quizzes are hard. So I almost heartily encourage group work on that, and send me the photo documentation of you watching it and doing it together, and you get more bonus points. Back to wine class. To me, it's the best way to learn in wine class. It just is. Do stuff together. You can do it together at a local bar, or a local restaurant, the wine lab, but you could also do it together in your apartment. That's fine. Saves you money. And so there are going to be a lot of things happening in local places, including wine lab, but the dominant way that most people do stuff in the wine class is getting together with their peeps and expanding their horizons. Some people have even learned to cook taking the wine class because they started preparing things for the wine tasting party they were going to have. So you do you. You're going to be fine. You can work together for wine big time. I would say it's mandatory, but I'm not a group worker myself, so I'm not going to say you have to. I'm saying it's the best way to learn. But if you don't have any friends and you don't want any friends, I'm not pushing you. First time chatter from Carrie Craig saying, I'm making a batch of Pinot Noir this semester. Any tips? What? Carrie Craig, we got to talk. I got to taste this Pinot Noir, and I got to hear more details about that. Making a batch of Pinot Noir, any tips? I would say, yeah, I hope you're working for a major winery. That's a hard grape to make wine out of. And where in the hell did you get that juice at? Hook me up with details, Carrie Craig. Inquiring minds want to know. Sweet Rosie B says, can confirm great courses. Thank you, Sweet Rosie B. Ethan Owens 23 says, do the points add up versus being a percentage grade? Nope. It's all addition, Ethan Owens. It's all simple addition. Everything you do, if you meet the threshold to get those points, it is added on to your I know it's a wildly descriptive phrase, your point total. And your point total is a column in Moodle, and you can see it starting right now. If you go take a quiz, go look at the point total column. It'll tell you exactly how many points you've got in class. And it's kind of like when you buy a prize, it's yours to keep. You never lose points in this course or any course. You can only gain. So when you take a quiz and say you fail it, you're like, I scammed. I didn't really go watch this film. But I went and clicked buttons anyway. I only got 3 questions right out of 10. It won't even put the points into the column. You failed. You didn't meet the threshold. 0 points were attributed. So your point, the column that says point grade total is always 100% up to the second updated for your actual point total in this course. And it only changes when you, my friends, take an assignment and pass it and get the points for it. Boop, goes into the column. And you can just keep working starting right now to keep your point total going up. For World Regional peeps, you should finish this course shortly after spring break. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know when spring break is this semester, but you should finish this course before May. In fact, you should probably finish this course in early April. Go get them. Go get them, Tiger. You can do it. Wine peeps, you should finish about the same time. If you're still digging for points in late April, you're way behind, and you should have already wrapped it up. So I'm setting goals that are ahead of the end of the semester for you because I have faith in you. I think you can do it. And if you do it, you'll feel better about yourself and you'll be finished with the course and you can get on with life doing other things. Okay. Auden Beans says, the place I work at serves us free glasses of wine. Can I use those wines for that blog post? Sure. You don't have to pay for the wine. If somebody's giving out free wine, I'll be the first in line to go taste those wines. But you do need to get the information on it. So I don't know who gives out free wine, but as long as you can get the information, get a picture of the label, and be able to do the assessment as is outlined in the syllabus, spending money is not mandatory. And spending a ton of money is discouraged. You should try to get away with this for as cheaply as possible. Many places in town actually do free tastings. One place is called the Vintage Cellar. They do free tastings on Saturday. It's free. They typically don't like us sending students there because they're like, it's a pain in the ass. We have to show them the label and shit. But don't matter to me. They're a public business. Go bug them. So start this Saturday. Go to the Vintage Cellar. There are probably some other places in town that do free wine tastings, but some of them are disappearing. So I'll have to go make a compiled list of who's still in the game. I know Gourmet Pantry does them every now and again, but they don't do that many. Dennis at Kroger says he wants to do them, but they took away his ability to. But he said, if you send students to me, guy's name is Dennis at University City Kroger, Ghetto Kroger, if you know what that term means. And if you go in the wine place and ask for Dennis, he's usually walking around, be like, yeah, Boyer told me maybe you did a wine tasting. He'll probably open a bottle for you. Or at least he'll tell you when he's going to do a tasting. Okay. So yes, the Auden Beans free wines work. They don't have to be paid for it. You just have to know the information about them. First time chatter from Pillars of Creation Nebula. Whew, that's a mouthful. So the goal is to buy the textbook and then do all the assignments in advance so we are good for the rest of the semester. Well, Pillars, that depends. That's not all the assignments. So again, it doesn't even matter what class you're in. The World Regions class has one textbook that you need to get into the system, period. And it has 13 book reading quizzes. You can do those all on the first 2 weeks of class if you really want to work ahead. But even that won't pass the class. You still have to do a lot of other things. But you can get ahead on the book reading quizzes and do them and have all those points. For the wine class, there are 3 different books. 2 of those books have quizzes attached to them. So yeah, and those quizzes are open right now as well. So you can get those books and take those specific quizzes for those book readings, okay? And get way ahead. However, both courses have lots of other materials, video lectures and films, that you do for a lot of points as well. And not all of those you can't work ahead on all the lecture quizzes. You can work ahead on the book reading quizzes. And you can, if you're in the wine course, you can work ahead on blogging. So you can blog a ton early and be done. We have deadlines for blogging that we say, okay, like February 1st is when these 10 things are due, and March 1st is when these 10 things are due, and April 1st is when these 10 things are due. So, but you could do them all. You could do them all right now, but it's a lot of work, but you can work ahead on those things. Does that make sense? Pillars of Creation Nebula. First time chatter from Jesse Rosie 16. What is the best way to connect to other students to meet up with others in these courses in Blacksburg? That is a very good question. That's a Katie question. Oh, Katie already answered. Oh, there you go. Did you see that, Jesse Rosie? That Plaid Katie said, there's Discord for each class, which is posted on Moodle, and I should introduce myself. I'm Katie, Professor Boyer's technical assistant. Okay, well, Katie can do better than that. You can she is actually a physical entity that is actually here with me in St. Martin. So, Katie, come over here. I know. Well, you can back up. This is Katie. You're getting closer. Getting closer. Closer. Oh. Closer. There you go.
I'm too short.
Katie is the go-to to answer all technical questions. So if you're having trouble getting on Moodle, which I doubt, anybody that's here right now before classes even begin is wicked smart and you know what's going on. But if you have any trouble with Moodle, if assignments go down, if you go to an assignment, it says it's closed or something's wrong, hit up Katie immediately and she'll fix it immediately. And trying to think what other technical things. That's most of the technical things are access and quizzes that somehow gets booged up somewhere. So Katie's the go-to to fix everything. I'm just the dude that talks. First time chatter from Joe Andres, 123, Uno Do Trey, who says, you may have answered this earlier, but is there a discount we get at the Vintage Cellar in Blacksburg? That is a question you will have to ask Randall or Keith. Randall or Keith at the Vintage Cellar is the person to ask that question to. And the reason is, in years past, I've sent them students, actually upwards of tens of thousands of students, and sometimes they're very accommodating to students, and sometimes, for whatever reason, they're pissy about students. So they have in times past had like a 5 or 10% discount for students that maybe, sometimes it's been 5 or 10% discount for students in your class who just go to the register and say, hey, I'm in Geography of Wine, and anything you buy, you'll get 5 or 10%. Sometimes it's been, no, we only give them a 5 or 10% on the bottles that we're doing at the tasting. So they change their attitude every spring semester, and they're wonderful people. I've known them forever, but I don't know their attitude right this second. So when you go in to do a free tasting at the Vintage Cellar on Saturdays, do they still do the free beer tastings on Friday?
Yes.
Yeah, they do free beer tastings on Friday, free wine tastings on Saturday. And you all, honestly, truly, it's almost conflict of interest. I have no interest in the Vintage Cellar, but the conflict is I'm hesitant to send you there because I don't know if you're going to be welcomed or dissed. So go there with a grain of salt and see and feel it out and see where they're at for this semester. I can try to hit them up too, but they're kind of old school. They're not very good on responding or communicating. So go figure it out. It's another adventure in wine. See how happy they are to see you or angry that you're there. I think they might be happy to see you. They've been saying the business has not been great for them. So I think they might be happy to see you. And they might even set up special tastings for you. Wasn't it years ago, Katie, that they set up like a Thursday tasting just for students? And they were like, no, you need to tell your students to come on Thursday for a special student tasting so they don't bother our regular freeloaders on Saturday. I vaguely remember that. I just said, guys, you tell the students. It's your business. Anyway, the answer is, I don't know, but figure it out. And Joe Andrus, when you figure it out, hit me up and let me know, and I'll tell the whole class. First time chatter from Sheepy74E. Have you tried 19 Crime Snoop Dogg Cali Red? I have. And that might be all I say about it. So, Sheepy74, I'm not dismissive of Snoop Dogg Cali Red. Mostly, I wanted to love it because, let's face it, I love Snoop Dogg. However, I will, upon request, and I actually just need to do this. I don't want to launch into a lecture right now because it'll literally be an hour lecture. But what I've seen unfolding in the world of wine in America, specifically in the last 10 years, is that there are wines that are a product of the vineyard and a product of winemakers that have a long tradition and history of cultivating the grape and making wine that's reflective of the best that their soil, their vineyard, and their region can produce. And then there's these things that I call manufactured wines that are made in a warehouse somewhere in Sedona, where they're just pulling in tons of no account grape juice and flavoring that juice the way they want it to be. In other words, most wine for all of human history has been a product of what can we do here? What does this right here, this terroir, this unique expression of the environment on planet Earth, what will the wine taste like if I grow it here? It's going to be unique. That's the way wine's mostly been made for 12,000 years. But in the last 10 years, companies, corporations, have figured out, well, we can make wine to taste the way people want. People like Coca-Cola. They can make wine that tastes like Coca-Cola. We can just get a big batch of juice and adulterate it and fix it and do stuff to it, and it will taste delicious. And you know what? They do. And it's delicious. But it's a conflict of interest in my brain for reasons that I will go into and explain to you in a whole lecture at some point, especially if enough of you bother me. A whole lecture just on curated, crafted wines versus manufactured wines. By the way, when I do that lecture, it's going to go viral online because no one in the wine world is talking about this. But as soon as I say it out loud, everyone's gonna be like, "Holy shit! I totally understand what that guy is saying." So this is a lecture for you, the students in my class, that will probably go viral and probably get some attention. But I need you guys to bug me to do it because I am categorically lazy. So the 19 Crime Snoop Dogg wine is a completely palatable wine, but I have reservations about it because I think its creation is suspect. So Pillars of Creation Nebula says, once we hit the point amount for the grade we want, we can technically stop working. Correct, Nebula. Correct. You do not have to do every single assignment in either class to get an A. You shouldn't. If you do well on those assignments you take, you should have an A by only doing, say, 80% of them, maybe 70% of them. But you got to score well. You can't just say, well, I took everything, but I failed it all, so I should pass. It's like, nope. You have to take stuff and do well. And if you do well, you don't have to do it all. So Plaid Katie answered. Sorry, Plaid Katie already beat me to it. Let's see. Edie Weedy says, yes, they still do. I'm sorry. What that must be in reference to. Edie Weedy must be referencing the vintage seller still giving a discount.
No, they're still doing wine tastings.
They are still doing wine tasting.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to Creation Nebula, who says, I really can't do the wine thing because my age, so I lose points for not being able to log on wine. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
No, that student is in the World Regions course. They were getting confused when you tried the wine stuff.
Gotcha. No, yeah.
World Regions.
No, you're in World Regions Pillars. You're good. And Edie Weedy is following up. I go there pretty frequently. They're still pretty welcoming if you're actually interested and respectful. Thank you, Edie Weedy. Pass that along to all the students. Let's see. Oh, yeah, okay, I'm way behind on comments. That's what I was saying. And Edie Weedy, I got to shout out, tasted this Pedro Jimenez 1928, 98 score. That wine was just beautiful. You haven't tasted it, highly recommended. Oh, Edie Weedy, I've had many Pedro Jimenez. But that's a grape type, so you have to tell me which producer you had. I know it sounds weird, but Pedro Jimenez is actually the name of a grape. It's not the name of a winery. Let's see. Okay, so you two are going back and forth. Pillars of Creation says, are both the weekly reading and video quizzes on Moodle? Yes, everything is on Moodle. Sheepy74 says, thank you for that insight. I'm excited into the culture and geography of wine. Thank you, Sheepy74E. And again, I'll do a lot more lecturing on that particular topic if you all want it. Creation Nebula. What assignments won't be on Moodle so I can keep track of those too? Everything's on Moodle. Every single thing is on Moodle. Consider it a cooler canvas. It's a cooler, better laid out, easier to access canvas. The whole course is on there, all of it. Let's see. And now I can skip through you guys' conversation. Cool. Oh, and Pillars once I was already ready for the wine class. Thank you, Pillars. And thank you, Sergeant Sachs, for filling in. It's Yog 4054. A first time chatter from Jack O. Thoughts on barefoot fruitscato. Oh my God, Jacko. I think you just made me lose control of my bowels. That's antithetical to my existence, Jacko. You already lost me on barefoot, all right? Barefoot is exactly what I was talking about earlier. That is a manufactured wine. They have no idea where those grapes are from. They probably have no idea or care what the grapes are. They wouldn't care if it's a Pinot Grigio or a Chardonnay. They don't care. It's batched, produced, volume, billions of gallons a year of nondescript juice that has alcohol in it. I'm not even sure they ferment it anymore. I think they get industrial. Some of these places for sure just get industrial grade alcohol and add it to juice because it's more complicated to actually make wine. So Fruitscato is putting two words together. Fruity, which of course Americans love, and Moscato, which actually Americans love too. So a nondescript, fruity, semi-sparkling wine. That just described soda pop. So Barefoot now makes soda pop that maybe has alcohol in it, which is a wine cooler, which is only literally 2 steps above hell, because hell is here, and then White Claw is here, and then Barefoot Fruitscato is above that. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry if you really love the Fruitscato, but because I'm old, self-admitted, I'm a self-admitted old person, I do like the old ways best. And I like the old ways best with wine because I want to, it's kind of like when people say, oh, you should buy green. You should support local, buy green, recycle your plastics, buy recycled goods. These are all dog whistles that nobody ever actually pays attention to. I do though, but I do it for wine. And so with me, the movement towards mass production is the first step in the destruction of the wine industry as we've known it for 12,000 years. I liken it to the movement of Walmart. So this is way before you guys' time. But Walmart is this big box store, you know Walmart, that came in the 70s and 80s and had this great idea, and it was a great idea. Business-wise, it was brilliant. Is they said, well, we're going to buy everything in bulk. All the mom and pop stores, we used to call them mom and pop stores. You guys are probably too young to have ever even heard that term. All the locally owned stores, including small local clothing stores, small local hardware stores, small local grocery stores, small local anything. That's how life was for a long time. It was small local. Kmart was before Walmart and JCPenney was before Kmart. So there were box stores that started to crop up around the country, but they were the exception, not the rule. Walmart was the first store that came in and bought in so much bulk. They made stuff so cheap that local stores actually literally could not buy it at wholesale price for the same price that Walmart was selling it for. And so Walmart in the 80s and 90s, and I guess they're all gone now, but probably to this day, was the first step that destroyed all small family, locally run business when it comes to retail in America. And I'm not making fun of them. It's just a brief history lesson. Now I'm making fun of wine that's doing that. So when I see Barefoot Fruit Scotto. I see Walmart. I'm like, oh, this is the next wave. And these folks are converting your generation, young people. They're telling you this is real wine. And it's real wine. It's really great because wine. But that's not why I think wine's great. I think wine's great because every wine I buy, and it can be from anywhere on planet Earth, but it's supporting craftsmanship and tradition, and usually family-owned businesses, almost exclusively family-owned businesses, sometimes for hundreds of years. And it's promoting a local product where the money's going back into that locale. When I buy a small Italian village wine, they're getting some of that money back. So that's what I choose to drink, mostly because it's better wine, but also it makes me feel good because I know there's a history behind it and a tradition behind it, and it's I'm buying something from the other side of the planet, but it's still supporting local. And I'm going to fight to my dying breath against the Coca-Colazation and Walmartization of wine, because they're gaining speed fast. And no offense to Snoop Dogg, but Snoop Dogg had nothing to do with that wine. They bought his name to put on that label because it's all marketing now. It's mass production product and marketing that's starting to push out medium and small-sized wineries who have been doing stuff in a sustainable, usually environmentally friendly and local way for decades, if not centuries. And I'm just going to keep fighting for those guys and drinking those guys. As opposed to rolling over and saying, well, Barefoot Moscato, sure. A multinational corporation is making plonk-ass wine, and you'll know what that term means by the end of the semester, and making billions of dollars serving a substandard product. Sure, I'll drink that. No, I won't. I don't think so. Anyway, I see we're already over time, and my computer's dying quickly, so I should wrap this up. Edie Weedy was saying Alvier was the name of the Hydroprimene. Can't even say it now. The Pedro wine that she drank from 1928. Lime 75 says, I know sake isn't actually wine, but would you oppose to having a blog post written about sake? Not at all. By the way, Lime 75, it is a wine. Technically, it's a beer because it's made out of a grain, but the stylistic implications on the finished product and its processing is much more like wine than it is beer. And we'll do a whole lecture on sake if people want. And Raybro says, thoughts on Stella Rosé. Stella, I know that name. Why do I know Stella Rosé? Okay, yeah, Katie's saying it's a commercial Italian brand, so much like Barefoot, I'll have to look it up. We should start. In fact, anybody wants, my battery is seriously counting down from 20 every 30 seconds, so I've got like 2 minutes tops. If any of you also are seniors who want to do a research project, I will throw down right now if someone wants to do a research project to help me design this lecture on manufactured wine and help do research to find out the biggest single brands and trace the lineage of the corporations which own them and help us do a research project to figure out how they make all this plonk shit. You'll get a bunch of credit. So if you're interested in something like that, give me a shout out. First time chatter from the Arbiter saying along similar lines, would mead be a good topic for a blog post then? Yes. And I should have backed up and said for sake, for mead, for a couple of other variants on wine, yes, you can do them for a blog post, but a blog post, a tasting. A lot of people are like, well, I really like beer, so can I do all my blog posts on beer? And it's like, no, this is a class on wine. But mead is honey wine. That's acceptable, but unless you really are passionate and want to do 100 mead tastings, and good luck, it's hard to find. Same with sake. You can work one or two, but let's focus on the grape wine, if you don't mind. Sergeant Sack says, thank you, excited for the semester. Max Quacks points up. Plaid Katie says, mead is allowed. The Arbiter says, thank you. Etha says, based mead enjoyer. Boom. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm down to 9% off of 30% just 5 minutes ago. Oh, it happens. Sometimes this computer will hold at 1% for a while. But I will wrap this up. It actually has been an hour. Thank you all so much. I don't know how many of you actually were in the room tonight, but this is a solid start to the semester. I'm so happy that so many of you decided in the middle of the afternoon in Blacksburg, because we're 1 hour ahead of you, by the way. I totally forgot when I sent out the email earlier. I'm like, oh shit, we're 1 hour plus. So it's going on, what time is it here now? 6 o'clock? So we've hit twilight here. Greetings, salutations, and signing off from the French side of St. Martin here in the Caribbean. Be back with you in Blacksburg next week, and send any questions you have about anything. Get on it, whether you're in World Regional Geography or Geography 1. Get on it and get to work and start learning stuff. Remember, you're at college to learn, not to get good grades. But those good grades can easily be achieved if you learn a bunch. So get on it. Have a great rest of your evening, a great semester, whichever class you're in of mine. And do not hesitate to hit me up anytime, multiple times, with questions, comments, concerns, or recommendations on lectures, recommendations on films, recommendations on any outside activities you'd like to do. And look towards the, what's the thing called, Katie, the chat room with students? Look to the Discord to get internal tips on friends you can make, groups that might be getting together to taste, and outside events happening in the town of Blacksburg. What's that? Yeah, to watch films together for wine class too. But if there's tastings or educational events happening with wine or world regions locally, be sure to put those into the Discord so other people can join you, and we'll let the learning continue to expand well beyond some goofball old dude who's just lecturing to you online. But for now, as always, have a great semester, my friends. And from St. Martin, party on. We'll see you next week.